My name is Utku, and I'm a managing director at Citus. But before I joined Citus, I used to work at large companies like Intel, Oracle. I used to do business consulting for enterprises, and I was pretty confident in my business knowledge, my ability to do business development, run partnership deals, do analysis, strategic analysis, build strategies. And then I joined Citus when Citus was basically a team of 4 people. And I spent most of my first year unlearning the habits I had developed in my professional career to date. Now, who here worked at a relatively big company before? Hands? So all of you need to listen to what I have to say in the next half an hour. After I joined Citus, we got into Y Combinator. Citus was actually founded in Turkey, in Istanbul, by the way. And then we got into Y Combinator, went to SF, started our office there, got our angel investors, got our first customer, started building up our product a bit more. We grew the company. We then got a big institutional investor behind us, grew the company more, launched more products, got more customers, and the story goes on, and it's far from over. But over the course of those 5 years, we made many mistakes. What we got better at doing, though, was to, 1, avoid unnecessary mistakes, and 2, learn from our mistakes as well as the mistakes other people did. And I think that was one of the key things about being in the Silicon Valley, that there were so many people we could talk to and so many, it wasn't just our own experience that we learned from, but from other people's as well. So again, another show of hands. Who wants to learn from other people's mistakes here? Okay, now all of you have to pay attention to the next half an hour. We'll be asking you to do pitches. We're already asking you to do pitches in the next couple of days. And this was my pitch to you so that you pay attention to what I need to say. Just realized I don't have my clicker. Now, I need a brave entrepreneur to tell me who these guys are and what they do. Anyone? Okay. Okay.
But they tell how they wrong.
Okay, thank you. For those of you that may not have heard the beginning, so basically these guys take common myths or rumors, and then they apply scientific methods to either confirm that they're true or to prove that they're wrong. In their terminology, it's called busting the myth if it's not true. An example is, I'm sure many of you have either thought of or have heard, if you're in a free-falling elevator, can you actually jump in the last second to save your life? These guys have actually tested this. And for those of you that are curious, apparently the best thing to do is to lie flat on the floor, not to jump if you're in a free-falling elevator. Now, what we're going to do today is actually we're going to bust some myths of our own. I picked about 6 myths that I heard over the years from the likes of you, some of the stuff that we used to believe in, about what you should do in your startup. And we're not going to use a very scientific method here to test these myths, but we're basically just going to vote. Now, voting there is some merit to it. I don't know if it's a scientific method. If Donald Trump gets elected as president of the US, I'm really going to have doubts about it. But for the time being, let's go with that. I have trust in you guys, and let's see where it takes us. Okay, myth number 1. Raise money fast to build momentum. How many of you here is looking for money, looking for investment right now? No one? Come on. Okay, at least half of you. So, very quickly, let's hear some arguments for raising money fast to build momentum, and then let's hear some against. But 1-sentence answers, please, very quickly. Those are any arguments for raising money fast to build momentum? Any hands? Please. You need to grow. Any other argument? Yep. Focus on product. Okay. Yeah. Okay, you can launch on a bigger scale. Be first to market. Okay, how about some arguments against raising money fast? No one. Everyone thinks, okay, there you go. You have arguments for both sides. That's good. Okay. Okay, you may raise too much. You need to test the market. Yeah. Okay, that's an interesting one. Wouldn't have anyone else to answer to. Now, here are a few that I picked. 4, you can actually hire good people early on, which is very important for your company. Another one is you don't have, I think this goes back to your point, you don't have immediate sales and profit pressure. So you can actually focus on making your product better, you can focus on other things. And then you can have an early start on marketing and building your brand, which does take time. But then there are also arguments against it. One is unnecessary dilution. You may raise 100K at, giving up 10% of your company, whereas if you waited maybe 6 months, you could raise the same amount of money by giving half as much. Another one is you could be spending, as a founder, you could be spending too much time and focus on raising money and neglect your other duties, such as actually getting customers or doing your product better. Another one is rushing into not so smart money. By that I mean you could go get money from some guy with a big ego who doesn't actually understand basically the industry you operate, who's just always trying to intervene and not much of help other than just the money he gives you. So a quick vote. Those who say we confirm this myth that you should raise money fast to build momentum. Raise your hands. Those who are against, who say we busted the myth. Kind of split in half. And here's my verdict. I actually say busted. Now, Bill Gross, the founder of, forgot the name, basically it's a large incubator. And he analyzed over 200 startups, 200 successful startups, trying to find that one thing that makes a startup successful. And money didn't make it to top 5. There were things like timing, team, idea, but money wasn't in top 5. There were other studies who look at startups that actually failed, and less than 30% say that they run out of money. So even though at times money seems like very important, there are other things that requires your attention as a founder. And that's the number one reason why I say it's busted. Because it takes a lot of effort and time and focus to raise money. You have to decide when is the right time to do it, because you're going to be giving your energy to it, whereas actually your energy might be spent elsewhere, such as learning your market as a founder. That's why, and we actually from personal experience, we realized that, for example, we could have raised half as much early on, and then increase the valuation more, spend our time in getting more traction, and then go for another round. So this is a very important point. Don't make money your end goal. It should be a means to an end, not the goal itself. Another one. Attend lots of events like Startup Istanbul, workshops, to gain experience, to learn from others. Any arguments for attending many events early on? Yeah. Networking. Very good one. Same, networking. Learn from other people's experiences. Okay? Find a team member. That's a good one. What about against? Sorry. Jumped the gun there. Anyone against? Time loss. Analysis paralysis. Good one. Yeah? Lack of focus, is that?
Yeah, we will lose focus on the goals. So
Okay.
it's depression.
I like it. So, 4, you hear lots of feedback, learn, networking, you brought it up, practice pitching, something that wasn't said, but it only gets better with practice. Against takes a lot of time, and too much advice, you get drawn in too many directions. I do mentoring here as well, and sometimes in the same room, 3 of the mentors, we don't agree on the feedback. So it's easy to get to analysis paralysis. Everyone is saying something, and you're trying to analyze, make sense of it. Quick vote. Who's for attending lots of events early on? Who's against? Okay, you actually say we confirm the myth. I say it's busted. And the reason is, again, time. Now, I'm not saying don't attend any event, but every minute you spend here, every minute you're here listening to me is a minute you're not spending on something. And you will learn, sorry? Bye. And that's totally fair, that's totally fair. You have to be paranoid about your time. Trust me, you will learn this by mistake, by doing mistakes. You will look back and you will say, I wish I hadn't done that. You cannot get time back, and it's extremely important. So I'm gonna underline this point again. We had the same issue with raising money. You have to be extremely paranoid about your time. Sure, pick an event, attend. If you have a specific goal, like you wanna find team members, maybe that's more of a reason to attend events. But what I see is that most people attend too many of these events. They attend too many awards, and then you talk to them, and they're talking about the award they won and the event they attended, the one they pitched, and you're asking them, tell me about your market. Were you actually out there in the field, learning as a founder what you need to be doing? So be very careful there. Okay. This one is maybe a bit difficult to explain. I'll try. Have specific goals and plans. Have like a prediction about where the market is going. Have set your goal and have a plan, detailed plan to achieve it. Versus be reactive. Look at what's happening around you and change accordingly. Who's for having specific goals and plans? Arguments? Yeah.
You've got an end goal in sight. You can show an investor what they may potentially make as a return.
Okay, helps with talking to investors. Any other arguments? Yeah. Helps you get focused, yes. Need to have a blueprint. Okay, what about against? Yeah. Things change fast. Die trying. Adaptive vision. No middles, no middles. Okay, let's do a quick vote. Who says we confirm the myth? You should have specific goals. What about those that want to bust this myth? Okay, we're actually confirming this myth. And I agree. You already said the ones I had picked up, so my verdict is also confirmed. Now, I'm not the only one who says this. Peter Thiel, if you haven't read the book 0 to 1, I'm assuming many of you have, read that book. I think he's proved his worth, so read his book, and he also defends that you should have specific goals. And look, the reality is, I do hear you, a lot of things change, you have to be adaptive, but the thing is, if you don't have a plan, you cannot really focus, you cannot align your team, you cannot measure success. Sure, your assumptions may be wrong. Sure, it's even okay to change plans along the way, but when changing plans, you need to do the analysis, and you need to have a justification for why you're changing the plans. If you don't have plans, you're essentially saying to the universe, hey, look, align all these random events for me, and I become successful. Maybe it happens in some Silicon Valley movies, but it doesn't happen in reality. So have specific goals and plans. is what I would say. Another one, build strategic partnerships with enterprises. So who is for building strategic partnerships with enterprises? You. Gain more experience. Yep. Investments, get investment from your strategic partners. Okay, new go-to-market channels. What about against? Lose identity.
They force you to do product as they like to do.
Okay? Take your idea and run away. All good points. The ones I picked, it gets you a good reference, something you need as an early company. Hey, look, Microsoft, listen to me. You get resources, maybe money. You may land a big deal at the end. You may sell to that company, or you may sell to one of their partners. What's against something that wasn't mentioned, enterprises are extremely slow. They move at a snail's pace. You don't have that much time. Engagements will tie up valuable resources. Maybe they have 100 people that are dealing with startup partnerships. Maybe you have one. Another one, difficult to align goals. I think there was a similar comment here. The incentives may not be totally aligned doing business with them. So quick vote. Who wants to build strategic partnerships? Who thinks it's not a good idea? Okay, we bust this myth, and I agree. Now, this is not to say don't do it completely blank. I mean, if there was a company here who had a good deal with Sony Music, and it's kind of their main go-to-market channel. Okay, it makes sense. What I say here, I hear from a lot of these companies, I've personally done this mistake. You go talk to this company, that company, because they're saying, look, let's do a success story together, let's write a white paper. Another one says, look, we're gonna involve you in this program, accelerated program, you're gonna do this. And the main reason is, it's just, they're very slow. You need to be faster than them. And the person you're talking to, maybe most of the time they're incentivized to write 3-4 reference case studies a quarter, and it's 10% of their bonus. Whereas for you, this is life and death. So there is usually a big asymmetry. Most of the time, you're better off trying to do it yourself and do something. Exceptions, but in general, I'd be very scared and very wary of building strategic partnerships. Question? Same thing. I would say the same arguments apply. Okay, now this is a controversial one. Hire slowly, fire fast. So this means take your time in hiring someone. Don't settle for someone that's okay for the job. Go and try to hire someone that's the best for the job. And fire fast means if you don't think they're a good fit, part ways quickly. So those who say you should hire slowly and fire fast. Arguments, yeah. So looking for arguments right now. Okay, if you hire the right person, you don't need to fire them later on. Someone new, someone hasn't spoken. They're in the back. Best resources being used. Okay.
To check trust.
Sorry?
To check trust.
Okay, project trust. Okay, those who are against hiring slowly and firing fast. Any arguments? Yep.
Reliability in the startup will be lost.
Okay. Yep.
No company loyalty.
No company loyalty. Yep. Time gap, you may not have time. So yes, you want to hire slowly, fire fast, you want to hire really good people. One thing that didn't come up. People who don't do their jobs well influence others. They drag the team down. This is very important. Against hiring slowly, firing fast, you don't have time to wait for the ideal person sometimes. You just have to get that product out there. And firing is difficult. That person may have kids relying on you, very excited about the job. You have to go tell them, sorry. And another one is, may affect team morale, like building company loyalty. If people feel like, oh, they should be scared because they can get fired at a moment's notice. So, who wants to hire slowly, fire fast? Raise hands. Who wants to bust this myth? Okay, you're busting the myth. I'm confirming it. And the reason is, sure, there are things that make it difficult, but I think some of these arguments are basically just too strong. If it's a wrong hire, it's extremely costly. You bring that people on board. You spend months of your own time training them, and then they're not doing the job well, they're bringing the team down, and you have to eventually get rid of them anyway and start from scratch. And basically the amount of time you lost, it's just extremely costly. Even though hiring slowly may take longer, it's still better because you get the right person and he's going to deliver, she's going to deliver, and you won't have to fire, basically. And firing fast, that's because it's not just that individual person, but also the overall effect, the influence on the team. Okay, last one. Find an idea everyone likes. Or let's say fine-tune your idea so everyone you speak to likes it. What are some arguments for it? Bigger market, more money. Anyone in the back? Okay, what about against it?
Maybe I want to focus a niche market. I don't
Okay.
need to target everyone.
You want to focus on something niche? Yeah. It's really difficult to please everyone. Very good one. Find an idea that you like, you want to work on. Some of the things I've found. You feel good about yourself. You talk to friends, you talk at events, and they like your idea. You actually win competitions. Like this one. Maybe not as sophisticated, but you do win competitions, and you'll probably get angel funding with a popular idea, an idea that people like. What's against is basically, it's probably not revolutionary. So, given that this is the case, who says we confirm this myth? You should find an idea that people like. What about those against it? Okay, we busted this myth, and I agree. If your vision is out there, if your vision is to change the way something is done, to disrupt something, look, it's not gonna come from an idea that everyone else says and says, oh, that's a great idea. This is probably an overused example, but look at Uber, look at Airbnb. Who would have thought in the first day that that was a good idea? They sounded like really pretty bad ideas. And this does happen. This is generally the pattern. The disruptive ideas are the ones that you believe in and 90% of the people don't believe in. Because everything else, someone tried it, or it's really not that disruptive. There's a reason why people haven't done it, because it's obvious. So I'm not here to say go ahead and find a terrible idea that no one likes. But what I'm saying is don't be discouraged if you're the only one around you that believes in that idea. I think that was a very good point. You need to find an idea that you believe in, and that's how it works. Of course, we all know 90% of the startups fail. It does, but if your vision is to do something different, to change something, don't be discouraged if initially people don't get it. Hopefully one day they will look back and they say, who would have thought? So I have a last one, and there was a comment early on. Should you listen to experts and mentor advice, or should you leave the room? I'm going to let you decide. I didn't want to show this earlier. I was afraid that a lot of you would leave. So it's your responsibility at the end of the day where you spend your time and whose advice you follow. and I think it is very, very tricky. So with that, I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time, and I wish you a pleasant event for the upcoming days.